Welcome back to the year 1982 and our coverage of the Masters of the Universe toy line by Mattel. We will be continuing our look at the original 8 figures that we started with the villains Skeletor and Zodak. To take on such evil, He-Man needs his trusted friend and right hand, Man-at-Arms, to help him battle. And today, we'll be taking a look at Man-at-Arms, the Master of Weapons, here on Creed's Collection. Hey everybody, welcome back to another episode of Creed's Collection. Today we're taking a look at Man-at-Arms, He-Man's right-hand man and the Master of Weapons. Man-at-Arms' real name is Duncan, and he is the foster father of Teela, the only female action figure in the first series of Masters of the Universe. Teela is the daughter of the Sorceress of Grayskull and is in line to be the next Sorceress. So, in addition to being her foster father, Man-at-Arms also keeps an eye on her, as she is extremely important. Teela is also He-Man's love interest, so because of this, Man-at-Arms is not only his friend, but also like a father and a mentor. And now that we've covered a little bit of his background and personality, let's go ahead and take a closer look. The first thing that jumps out at me about Man-at-Arms is that he has kind of a little piggy nose. I find that pretty funny. But he has amazing armor pieces. They're extremely detailed compared to some of the other figures. And having 3 pieces of armor sets him apart because most of the other figures only had 1 piece of armor and then some type of weapon. And while on the subject of his armor, I just want to point out that it looks very steampunk to me, which I like a lot. It looks like it's been cobbled together from bits of technology and armor left over from the previous society, which definitely lines up with the original He-Man storyline of it being a post-apocalyptic world. And now I'll take a look at Man-at-Arms' included weapon, his club, which honestly is kind of a weak pack-in for someone who's supposed to be a master of all weapons. But his armor and weapons do match perfectly with the weapons rack that was included with Castle Grayskull. So I always assumed that he was a master of all of these, and he used them to help train the other characters. Because in my mind, Man-at-Arms is sort of like a drill sergeant. Gentlemen, I am here to give you the tools and skills you will need today to take on Skeletor on the battlefield tomorrow. You may have entered here, men, but when I'm through with you, you'll be masters of the universe. Man-at-Arms' spring-loaded power punch still works, but unfortunately it's not quite as strong as it used to be. And just like my Zodak and Skeletor, he has a soft head, indicating that he is one of the very first figures released. And he has the same 1981 copyright date as all the other first release figures, even though they didn't actually hit store shelves till 1982. We've covered Masters of the Universe Articulation in other videos, but just in case you haven't seen one of those, they have the rubber band legs that aren't very posable, they have a spring-loaded waist, their arms can go up and down, and their head can turn left and right. And that is it for their posability. And now for our He-Man size comparison. He-Man and Man-at-Arms are exactly the same size because they're exactly the same figure. The only difference between them is the accessories and their head. Every other piece of them is exactly the same, just repainted. This was very common among the Masters of the Universe figures, and actually a common practice among toy companies, as Mego did it in the 1970s with their World's Greatest Superheroes line. Everyone, thank you so much for taking the time to watch my toy review for Man-at-Arms from the 1982 toy line, Masters of the Universe by Mattel. Man-at-Arms is one of the few figures I didn't own as a child, but my friend had him, so I did get to play with him quite a bit. He's a pretty recent acquisition, and I have to commend whoever owned him before me, because they kept him in pristine condition. If you enjoyed the video, please leave a thumbs up, and if you have any thoughts, please leave a comment. I love reading and responding to them. And while you're at it, please consider subscribing if you haven't already. I'd really appreciate it, and it would help my channel grow. I review a toy from my vintage collection every Wednesday, so I hope to see you next week and every week after, here on Creed's Collection.